Ronak sir, can you please confirm my voice is audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are perfectly audible.
Thank you, sir. So let us start.
Yes, ma'am, we may proceed further.
Thank you. So once again, very good morning to all of you. I, Dr. Krishna Joshi, on behalf of Faculty of Business Management, Marwari University, welcome you all in today's webinar titled Applications of Data Analytics in Equity Market. Our today's resource person is Professor Ronak Raithetta, and he is there with us today. So he has joined, and many participants has as well joined us as well. So let me start proceeding further for this webinar. So I feel privileged to share with you that Faculty of Business Management, Marwari University strongly believes in the learning should not stop in any situation, and hence we are conducting online webinars so you can all learn without stepping out. FOBM Marwari University has designed series of webinar, and till the time under this series we have conducted 30 plus webinars so far. So with this, I will just communicate to you all few rules to join, to stay in this webinar. Then I will be introducing you all to our today's resource person, and then we will hand over the dais to Professor Ronak Raithetta. So before starting today's webinar, please note the things that kindly put your devices on mute mode. We will prefer your name and your profile picture as your introduction in the webinar. You can keep pen and paper handy to quickly note down some important point during webinar. We will be running a live Q&A session at the end of the webinar. So please put your doubt and questions in the chat box. So with this, I would like you all to introduce to Professor Ronak Raithetta. Ronak Raithetta is a dynamic company secretary. He is engaged in the field of academics as well as financial advisory since last 4 years. He is also actively engaged in taking seminars and workshops on individual tax planning, financial literacy, and skill development courses. He is associated with Marwari University as a full-time faculty since last 3 years now. He is dealing in the subjects of finance, tax, business, corporate law, advanced Excel, and analytics. So with this note, I would like Ronak sir to take this webinar further. Over to you, sir. We have joined 70 plus 70 attendees has already joined us, and still people are joining us. So we are very happy to have you here. We welcome you all, and let us not waste any minute because learning is very important. With this note, I would hand over this meeting to Ronak Raithetta. Please, sir.
Thank you so much, Krishna ma'am, for such a nice introduction. I am a firm believer of the fact, also stated by Honorable Mahatma Gandhi, that beauty lies in the eyes of beholder. She is able to see the dynamism in me because she herself is a very dynamic personality. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
A very good morning to all the students who have joined here, all the faculty colleagues, all other participants from various cities and domains, may be belonging to a finance fraternity, may not be applicable to every one of us. Thank you so much for joining this. This is Professor Ronak here, welcomes you all on the webinar of the applications of data analytics in equity market. I would like to showcase my gratitude to the Faculty of Business Management, the Dean, Faculty of Business Management, Dr. Sunil Kumar Jakhoria, all the faculty colleagues, and the webinar team for considering me appropriate to take this webinar on a very interesting topic of data analytics in the equity market. I would again like to welcome all the students who have joined, as well as all the faculty colleagues and participants. Yes, ma'am. Now I can share my screen if you can allow me to do so. Krishna, ma'am.
Yes, sir. I have just stopped my presentation. You may now share the screen, please.
Okay, Krishna ma'am,
Yes, sir.
it's been shown to me that I'm not allowed to share my screen. Could be some
Yes, yes,
technical.
yes. Wait a minute. Only a second. Give me a second. Yeah. Now you can share your screen, sir.
Okay, yes. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Well, let me introduce to the topic again. It's the applications of the data analytics in the equity market. So my friends, we must be aware about the inclination of this topic. That is relevant and applicable to every one of us, irrespective of whatever the domain we are belonging to. You do not require the prior knowledge of the equity to attend this webinar. That is again a disclaimer from my side. You do not require the prior knowledge of the analytics as well as the mathematics and statistics to attend this webinar. It is for all the people who are fresh into this field. Thank you so much. My friends, if I tell you that why this data analytics is important, it would be a great injustice with the topic. Rather than that, let's go through some of the statements stated by the renowned personalities across the globe. It was stated by one of the statistician, Professor Edwards Deming. He said that in God we trust, all other must bring the data. We are habituated to take the decisions intuitively, considering the vibes into account. I'm not denying that vibes are wrong, absolutely not. But my friends, intuitive decisions may put us into a tremendous troubles. Every decision we are taking must be bound by, must be backed by some rationale. And that rationale can be built only if I have the relevant data to frame some conclusions from that decision. We may have the trust on the God, absolutely. But for rest everything in our life, we must have the data, my friends. That was stated by Edwards Deming. It was further extended by the price of the light is less than the cost of darkness, my friend. I know that's quite a complicated exercise to make the data-driven decisions. We might be running with some of the constraints. We might not be having the sufficient time to take the decision. We might not be having the sufficient knowledge to take the decision. We might not be having the sufficient knowledge to analyze and interpret the data well to take any decision. But my friend, the price of the light is always lesser than the cost of the darkness. We'll have to take some extra efforts to make our decisions data driven rather than the intuition driven. It was further confirmed by one of the greatest military commander we have ever seen, Napoleon Bonaparte. War is a 90% information. He used to win the wars with the tremendous information he used to possess for his opponents. And if it can further be extended to the current scenario, information is going to be the oil of 21st century. The countries which got rich in 19th century primarily due to the oil production, that's gonna be the data and information now. And the analytics is the combustion engine of it. That was stated by Peter Sonderberg from Gartner Research. Without the big data analytics, my friends, the companies are blind and deaf, wandering out onto the web like deer on a freeway. That was stated by Geoffrey Murray. a renowned author. There is no difference in me and a deer who do not have any idea in which direction it is going, where it want to reach, what are the consequences of the actions it is taking. If I do not have the analysis of my consequences of the actions taken by me, if I do not have some predefined predictions, if I do not have some data to make the decisions, then there is absolutely no difference in me and the deer which is wandering freely. That's why the data is going to be the extremely important thing in 21st century. I would like to showcase one code to all of you, and I would expect from all the students, all the faculty participants to decode it after a few slides. Just to build a curiosity, you may take a note of it, my friend. D square, P square. Let's see how many of you will be able to decode it after a few slides. Well, my friends, it starts with the types of the data analytics. You know, we often get confused that what exactly we are doing in the data analytics. Let me address the questions in the hierarchy to showcase the types of the data analytics. The very basic type of the data analytics is the descriptive analytics. You use the statistics. You take the inferences of that statistics to the population by using some hypothesis. On the historical data, you try to see that what actually happened. So what actually happened is something is called descriptive statistics. Why did it happen? What was the potential reason behind it? That is addressed by the diagnostic analytics. What was happened was addressed by the descriptive analytics. Why it was happened is addressed by diagnostic analytics. What will happen in the future, that will be addressed by the predictive analysis. Now I am thinking about the future, my friend. I want to make some predictions. I want to make some forecast. What will happen if I extrapolate the historical trends? If whatever that is happened in the past, if the similar kind of the pattern is observed in the future again, then what will be the predicted values and the outcomes of it? Obviously, by taking some adjustment factors. And the ultimate analysis in the data analytics is the prescriptive analytics. It's a goal-driven analytics. How can we make it happen? We want a predefined level of output, conclusion, outcome. Then what should be done in the present to achieve that? And it also prescribes whether to be done or not to be done. My friends, the level of difficulty increases with the level of value it contributes in our day-to-day life, in our corporate lives, in our financial matters. Obviously, the prescriptive analytics contributes much into the value, and hence it is more difficult as well. So the level of difficulty increases with the value it contributes. One is belonging to the history, another one is belonging to the future. This is how the data analytics, the type of the data analytics looks like. I'm not going to make it so much theoretical in nature. It is just for the introduction of the topic. Then, my friends, this data analytics is further divided into various components, whether it is a prescriptive analytics, predictive analytics, or a descriptive analytics. First comes with the data wrangling, which is clearing the messy data. If you have got some really messy data, complex data, might be in a text format, might be in an image format, might be in a video format, might be in a numbers format. The type of the data could be anything. Clearing that complicated, messy data and transforming that data for the further processing and analysis is the task where the majority of the time of the data analysts is spent. Then drawing some conclusions out of it. The data would be processed, some quantitative tools would be applied on the data, and we come to the statistical aspects of it. The conclusions we get from the data would be presented in an appropriate manner through a visualized form so that even a layman can get it. The charts and bars and the graphs we use to present our data is the data visualization part of the data analytics. And my friends, for the customized needs for which we do not have the softwares available, we may have to code and program as well to reach to certain conclusions. So clearing the messy, complex data, transforming that into the further processing, then visualizing it, presenting it by numbers, drawing some conclusions out of that sample, and using the programmed languages to reach to some specified conclusions are the components of the data analytics. There are various tools used for the data analytics. Further bifurcated into languages and the softwares and the tools, my friends. R is a language, Python is a language, SQL is a language, Virtual Basic Application of MS Excel is a language. All these languages allows you to do the programming and the coding based on your customized needs. And there are tools which gives you the visualizations, data representations, data tables, and everything which is important for you to do the data analysis. Those tools can be SPSS, specifically used for the statistical analytics, MS Excel, RStudio, Power BI, Tableau, Google Data Studio, and Metabase. So this is how the entire data analytics tool pack looks like. Now my question to all of you, what was the D square P square? Let's see how many of you have identified it in the chat box. What is the D square P square? You may unmute yourself as well.
Good morning, sir. Sir, this is Sheetal Vekaria here. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible. Very good morning.
Good morning, sir. Sir, I have already wrote in the chat box. It is descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, and the prescriptive analysis. That is a D square P square.
Thank you so much, ma'am. You are right on the point. And all the students who identified it correctly, Ms. Mohini had identified it correctly, Mr. Rahul too, Mr. Siddhant as well. Absolutely correct, ma'am. All of you have identified it correctly. Now it was just to grab your attention for the initial 10 minutes. Thank you so much. Let's move to the equity market now, because we want to see the interface of the equity market with the analytics. My friends, equity market can be bifurcated into two types of markets for a layman understanding. One is the primary market, another one is the secondary market. When the shares are issued for the very first time, then few specific issues needs to be addressed. One is the valuation of the share. Now companies appoints the investment bankers as well as the merchant bankers. Investment bankers is the widely famous terminology in the United States of America, but the Indian law and judicial system still follows the terminology of the merchant banker for this. There are other intermediaries for that as well. The first question to be addressed, that what should be the valuation? All of you who are subscribing to the various IPOs might be aware of the fact that some of the shares are listed at 18 rupees and some of the shares are listed at 1000 rupees. Why there is a too much of gap in that valuation? Some shares are not advisable to be invested at 18 rupees as well, and some shares are advisable to invest at 1000 rupees too. So valuation does not have any relation to the denomination. That should be put in the back of our mind. So that shall be addressed at what price the share should be issued right in the primary market. If you will be putting at the overvalued price, my friend, people will not be subscribing to that. And if it would be undervalued, that means you had undervalued your company's valuations. In both of the situations, company is at the loss. There has to be the proper valuation. And the second issue which is to be addressed, that how much capital to be raised. At what price, understood, but how much? 10,000 crores, 5,000 crores, 2,000 crores? And in the secondary market, where shares are exchanged from one investor to another investor, at that time, everyone wants to get the shares at the good bargain. Everyone wants to get it at the cheapest rate possible. Everyone wants to sell it at the highest rate which is possible. Now that is the constant tug of war going on between the investors, buyers and sellers, where you can invest, you can sell, where you can hold, where you can modify your orders. This is the transaction happening between investors and putting together. While the primary market transaction was primarily between the company and the investors. Now, how in the various facets this data analytics would be applicable? So these are the key areas primarily where the data analytics is extensively done. One is the merger and amalgamations of the companies and businesses. One company wants to take over another company. One company wants to sell some part of that to another company. Company might want to demerge as well. Company might want to amalgamate too. There has to be the settlements between those companies and equity shares, because equity share is the ownership right you have got. In a layman language, my friend, if you have got the equity share, that means you are the business partner of that company. You are the owner of that company. In mergers and amalgamations, the right value of the company needs to be established. You must have come across that, sir, Flipkart was not making good amount of profits, but still, why Walmart had bought the Flipkart with such valuations? Yes, companies are not interested in your past performances. Companies are interested, investors are interested in your future performances, my friends. And when it comes to the future performances, the future earning potential has to be calculated. How do we forecast the values of expenses and incomes, cash inflows and the cash outflows of that company in the future, for the future? That is the task to be done, to value that company. Whatever you have in your balance sheet, which is the historical figures you have taken, understood, but the investor is more interested in knowing the future potential of the company. And for that, my friend, the forecasting will take place. And when it comes to the forecasting and predictions, the data analytics comes into the picture. In raising the capital, the companies which are coming across with the IPOs wants to seek the money from the people at large, like you and me, individuals and various other people. They want to come out with a specified price, with a predefined size of an issue. What should be the price? Over there too, the data analytics comes into the picture. Then, my friend, the trading and investing, constant buying and selling, we want to crack a deal at the right prices. We want to buy the stocks at the cheapest prices. We want to sell the stocks at the most overvalued prices. And everyone wants to do it. Over there too, the data analytics will come into the picture. Designing the financial instruments, forward contracts, the future contracts between a company to a company. At that time too, the data analytics will come into the picture. The research, in what class of shares we should invest at what point of time, in what situation, whether it is the right time to invest or not. What is the right time to make the entry and exit? extensive research is backed by the extensive data analytics. Wealth management, you have got the portfolio, my friend, but how to manage that portfolio, how to frame the portfolio. Portfolio is consisting of the various different types of the assets you have. If you have framed one portfolio, then what is the optimum portfolio? By taking into account the risk and returns aspect of the various shares forming a part of your portfolio. How to make the modifications into it, how to analyze the performance of the portfolio. Obviously, you want to perform better as compared to the market. How to analyze the performance of it? Everywhere, the data analytics will come into the picture at the individual level as well and at the institutional level as well. At the individual level, if you are maintaining it, at that time too, you want to identify your right entry and exit points. You want to identify the right investments. You want to identify the right time to invest. So let's go to the actual applications without wasting much of time. That was the introduction for the topic. Applications of the descriptive analytics in the equity markets. When it comes to the descriptive, whatever that has already happened, we are analyzing that data, finding the standard deviations of the returns, the variances of it, the skewness and kurtosis, the normal distribution or any other type of distribution we have observed in the data. Taking some inferences out of the data. So where it is used? First, it is used in the portfolio performance measurement. There are various models and ratios in the portfolio management analysis. Over there, you would be requiring the extensive use of the statistics. It can be a Sharpe's ratio, Trainer's ratio, Jensen's alpha. How much you have performed in comparison to a market is stated by a Jensen's alpha, a Sortino ratio. Drawdown, there are certain models that whether you have performed better than the entire benchmark or not. So every fund manager and the portfolio manager, my friend, would be having at least one objective, that they want to outperform the entire market. Say if I am the portfolio manager of any mutual fund, then I want to outperform the entire market. Whether I have outperformed or not, whether there was a problem in my selection of the stocks or whether there was a problem in my allocation of the money to those stocks. That can be stated by, can be analyzed by Brinson's model for selection and allocation. There are various other multi-factor models as well where the descriptive analytics is used extensively, my friends. Quantitative analytics of risk and return associated with the asset classes. The variance of your returns, whether at what point of time you have striked off your returns and risk. We people are aware that higher the risk we take, higher would be the chances of returns in any of the securities we invest. So quantitative analysis of the risk and return. Optimum portfolio allocation by taking into account risk and return, where my risk is minimized and returns are maximized. If I want to make such optimum portfolios, over there the statistics will come into the picture, my friends. If I want to do the risk analysis of the portfolio, that in the worst of the situations, how much money I can lose in whatever the money I have invested in the portfolios. Over there, the value at risk analysis can be useful. My friends, there can be a pair trading and arbitrage strategies as well, which can be framed by using the descriptive analytics. I know these are very high sounding fancy words, but let me explain that to you in a very layman language. Some of the shares might be moving in a pair positively or negatively. If I give you one very simple example, say if you are investing in a real estate, if the entire real estate market is going down, if there is no demand in the real estate, obviously the next effect would come into the cement sector. So there is a high chance that cement sector share prices would be positively correlated with the real estate prices. Similarly, all those banks and financial institutions who have got the exposure of the home loans, the quite a good amount of exposure of the home loans, even they wouldn't be adversely affected. Even they wouldn't be able to get the good amount of home loans now. Their earnings may also be affected and their share prices may also go down. So some of the shares might be positively correlated, some might be negatively correlated. That can be found by using the historical analysis, by using the scatter plots, by using the correlation matrix. And if you want to establish the exact relationship, if one unit of the stock is moving, then what is the movement in the cement stock? Then exact relationship can be identified by using the regression analysis that we'll see later on. Now, if you identify some pair for the trading, and if you have observed that, that pair is moving in a same direction that has been historically observed, then trading opportunities can be identified if there is a abnormal deviations between the two. And let me clarify this to all my friends. Our students have been doing this. I will showcase some of the brilliant works done by our own students in identifying those kind of the arbitrage and trading opportunities. Arbitrage is basically about making the profits without taking any risk, without investing much of money. You are just using the market inefficiencies. That is the arbitrage. Such kind of the opportunities can be identified by using the descriptive analytics. We always assume that there is a mean reversion principle in various other things, that if there are abnormal deviations found, then it will again settle down to a mean average. That is what is being the assumption of the normal distribution as well. And if the abnormal deviations are found, then there can be a trading opportunities for you in this situation, my friends. That is the use of descriptive analytics in the equity markets. There is the applications of the correlation and regression in the equity markets as well into the various facets and domains. Let's see that. My friend, as I've already stated, that if anyone wants to buy any business, then they are more concerned towards the future potential of the business. So the earnings of the business needs to be forecasted. If the variables of the financial statements are intercorrelated and there are exact relationships we have established, then regression and the correlation can be used to predict the other variables based on the independent variables. Like if I want to measure the level of payroll expenditure based on the amount of sales I am doing, by assuming some percentage of the growth rate in the sales, obviously that is too backed by the tremendous amount of the data research. Then I would be using the regression analysis over there. I would be showing some projects done by the students in the similar lines. The cost of equity, my friends, the expectations of the equity shareholders, that is the cost for the company. How do we evaluate the expectations of the equity shareholders? Obviously, that would be analyzed by evaluating the risk associated with that company. If that company's share prices are historically very volatile, then the expectations would also be very high from that company. And there are few models built to identify the cost of equity and the expectations of the shareholders. There are various other models as well where the regression analysis can be used. The finance people calls it as a beta. The statisticians calls it as the regression coefficient. The Excel guys calls it as the slope. But they both are telling and conveying the same meaning. Predicting the level of index or indices based on the changes in the level of macroeconomic variables. If the GDP is getting changed, some changes are taking place in the GDP growth rate, overall investment proportion in the GDP is getting changed, if those macroeconomic variables are getting changed, then what would be my level of index and indices? Can be predicted by using the regression. I'm using the words very carefully. Maybe can be predicted. We'll have to apply the various tests, various extensive research in that. Right in that lockdown, when the share prices got crushed, there was one ratio which was pretty much talked about. That was the GDP to market capitalization ratio, which was at the all-time low. Right now, it has again reached to 104%, which can be a sign of the overvaluation of the equity markets. Somewhere near to 104%. That tells you GDP to market capitalization ratio. That tells you that how the indexes, the barometers of your financial transactions like Nifty, like Sensex, are overvalued or undervalued as compared to the gross domestic product of your country. Identifying, as I've already stated, next one, identifying correlated and co-integrated stocks for pair trading. Predicting the individual stocks based on the movements in the correlated stocks and the indices. Over there too, there would be an extensive use of the data analytics. If I want to predict one stock based on the index, obviously I'll not be able to use it everywhere. There has to be the data backed. There has to be the strong justification why I'm doing so. But I'm just giving you a few examples that in which areas there can be the applications of correlation and regression, Then it comes to the application of the time series analytics in the equity market, my friend. Some of our students have already done it. I would show you the projects done by them as well, that how they have predicted the market prices by using the time series models. In the time series models, my friend, this x-axis is basically denoted by the time, and the y-axis might be represented by the price or a quantity or whatever the variable as the case may be. So if you have seen some historical movements in the time series, then how you can predict the future movements based on the historical movements you have observed? The time series models can be used to do this analysis. There can be autoregressive models, there can be moving average models, there can be autoregressive moving average combination models, and there can be autoregressive integrated moving average models as well to predict the share prices. I can have the exponential smoothing for the forecasting as well. If I want to give the weights, that whatever the previous data I have observed, whether that is more influencing to my prediction, or the current prices I have observed, whether that is more influencing to my prediction, so I can allocate the weights for my previous data and my current data. Can be done by exponential smoothing. My friends, to identify the exit and entry points in the various stocks, we have got the indicators and oscillators which can give us the idea about the entry and exit in the stocks. I'm just showcasing some of the indicators and oscillators so that you will be able to get it in a better way. Analyzing the chart patterns, the moving averages. Then some statistical indicators are also called as the very small form of algorithms they have framed, which gives us the idea that whether we should enter or not, at what point of time we should enter. It can be the weighted volume weighted average prices, it can be moving averages, it can be, the convergence and divergence of the moving averages, it can be the relative strength index. There are various n number of indicators which can give us the idea about where to exit, where to enter. That is nothing but the extensive use of the analytics only. Let's go to some of the other analytics use. These are the things we were quite aware about. These are the emerging fields now, My friends, everyone wants to identify that which are the stocks which are fundamentally and technically strong. There are basically two types of the stocks we have seen. Two types of analysis we do when it comes to the equity stocks, investment in the equity stocks. One is the fundamental, another one is the technical analysis. Fundamental analysis is about the exact actual financial position of the company, identifying their financial ratios, evaluating their financial position by using their ratios. Their management and governance analysis, the future prospect in the businesses, the future potential of the earning of that company. This everything forms a part of the fundamental analysis. Then technical analysis is about identifying the right appropriate time for investments by looking at the charts, by looking at the patterns which are formed in the charts, by looking at some statistical indicators and oscillators, which gives us the idea about entry and exit points. Now, my friend, if you will be going and searching the individual stocks based on this indicator, it would be quite a time-consuming task for you, right? If you have got one dashboard which gives you the idea, which gives you the automatic scans, which automatically identifies the stocks which are fitting into your fundamental requirements and the technical requirements, then you will be able to generate the trading opportunities based on that dashboard. Auto scans, it scans, you know, that if so and so situation arises, we want those stocks to be reflected on our platform. So there are algorithms built by various applications already there in the market, various softwares and tools already there in the market. And if it does not satisfy your customized requirement, then you will have to do it by your own programming and coding. And for the programming coding as well, there are various apps available. Over there too, you don't require much of the background of the code programming. You will have to just specify your requirements in terms of technicals and oscillators. And accordingly, it will identify the stocks for you. Algorithmic trading of the stocks, my friend, the physical buying and selling of the stocks, the days are gone. Earlier, the stocks were traded in the certificates, you know, the days are gone. Now the stocks are traded in the electronic form, but individual people are placing the orders. These days are also on the verge of extinction. The orders would be placed automatically by the systems and the softwares and the tools. They would be identifying the stocks to trade by using some algorithms. It is already a reality. It is not something which is a future, please. It is already a reality. Many finance houses have their algorithmic trading setups. Even that is available at the individual end to us. You can create your own algorithm based on the technical indicators and the fundamental scans. If I say to that particular app, I have the few apps which allows us to frame the algorithms of us as well, that if I say that if the PE ratio of that company is below 10, that is a sign of the undervaluation of the stock. And if the RSI is so and so, if the MACD is so and so, and if so and so pattern is observed, then my order should be automatically placed. And if so and so situation is found, then my order should be automatically squared off. Algorithmic arbitrage. You know, if I give you a very simple understanding of the arbitrage, there can be the price differences between the two markets for the same stock. You people are aware that the same stock would be traded in the NSE and the BSE market too. If the price differences are found, which is obviously a market inefficiency, then the software would be automatically identifying that opportunity, would be placing the order at one place and would be squaring off the order at another place. The arbitrage can be interpreted extensively further. The arbitrage can be between the stocks and its indices. The arbitrage can be between its derivatives and the stocks. Some of the advanced applications of the data analytics in the equity market. My friends, there are now an algorithms which gives us the idea about the sentiments related to the stocks What the majority of the people are thinking about that stock, whether they have the positive sentiment, negative sentiment. I was referring to one of the algorithms by one of the renowned sites. They are basically using the social media platforms, that how many number of times that stock name is getting reflected in the stock in that social media platforms, and what are the words attached to that stock. Then they would have identified that whether those words which are, you know, which are there along with that stocks, whether those words are conveying the positive sentiment or the negative sentiment towards that stock. And that text analytics would be done, and one scan would be given to you that whether the people are positively taking that stock right now at this moment in this situation, or negatively taking that stock. It can give us the sentiment analysis. My friends, the risk tolerance of the investors can be found by using the social media profiles. You people are posting the various things in the social media things. There can be a word analytics, the post you like, the kind of the things you like and share and comment, the kind of the words you use, whether you are aggressive in nature or a conservative in nature, can be identified by using the algorithms on the social media. There are various other things placed over there. Predicting the potential action of investors in predefined situations. If so and so situation arises, then what would be the predicted action by that investor, whether that buy it or hold it or sell it, or it will, or he will avoid. Now obviously that is being identified by looking into the historical behavior of that investors. At what point of time they had made the entries in the historical trades, at what point of time they had made the exits in the historical data. And then the future can be estimated, and we can say that at this point of time, this particular investor would like to exit or would like to invest. Auto scans we are aware about. Probability based decision tree analysis. You know, when the businesses are bought, when the projects are, when the investments are made into a project, there has to be the risk analysis of that projects as well. And over there too, my friends, the decision making tree as well as the simulation analysis are performed for doing the risk analysis. And over there too, there can be the extensive applications of the data analytics. If I give you the idea about the simulation analysis, that is, my friend, you say you have one predefined output. I'm just explaining that to you in a very layman language. Say you have a predefined output of valuation of one particular stock. Then you will be making some constant random changes into various variables which are affecting the valuation of the stock. You will be running the various iterations, 1,000 number of iterations, lakhs and millions of iterations. Random variables would be placed by you in a system, and you will now analyze that what is the effect of those random variables on the valuation of those stocks. Now this sounds very complicated, I know, but some of our students have done it. I'll show you their workings as well. Then, my friends, now the emerging trend is the use of the artificial intelligence in identifying, modifying, and exiting from that investments. Artificial intelligence, you people are aware, refers to, that you are giving the intelligence to that machine, obviously, in a very layman language. I'm not claiming to be the expert of this topic, absolutely not. But that is something which is a reality. Your system, your algorithms will be modifying, will get changed automatically based on certain situations and things they will see. You have placed one algorithm that this is where you should enter and this is where you should exit from your investment. But if you want to make the change or modification in that strategy, then the algorithm will be learning. The algorithm will be having its own artificial intelligence, and it will be modifying the strategy which you have put in your algorithms. That is also been implemented by the various finance houses nowadays. So you can imagine the type of interface we have in the finance and the data analytics, the kind of the data which the equity market generates, that would be unmatched, unparalleled with any other markets. Thousands and millions and billions of orders are placed in the fraction of seconds, my friends. And the kind of the data which it generates, there is the huge scope of the analytics in that. Now you people would be pretty much surprised that, sir, is it practicable, realistic to do? Whether our students have done it or what? My friends, I would be able to showcase that only if you actually go through some of the brilliant works done by our students. And this list is not exhaustive. Over a time period, they have performed the various data visualization tasks. They have done tremendous amount of works by using the Python, by using the Power BI, by using the advanced applications of the Excel. But some of the things which strike in my mind, I would like to share this with you. So friends, I was talking about that projects. See, you may go through one of the projects prepared by our student related to the business valuation, where she had forecasted the values for the future related to that business. And in all the years, she had forecasted the values by using the multiple linear regressions, and then she had valued the business by its future potential, the DCF method, Then the data visualization as well, you may see over there, that was done primarily in the advanced Excel, but it can be done by using few other tools and softwares as well, my friends. There was one project prepared by our own student in which both of them had tried to convey that what is the impact of the union budget on the equity market, and that impact was quantified, measured, and their statistical significance was also measured by them, that how much you can rely on that. So how over a period of time, historically, the announcements done in the union budget have affected the equity markets. They have done the projects on that. One of our students has brilliantly predicted the share stock prices by using the ARIMA model in the Python programming language. The works was again very amazing, very fascinating for me. One of our students had prepared the simulation analysis. I was talking about that to you, right? That constantly the random variables are getting changed, and accordingly, what is the impact on the desired outcome we have seen. Those models, those works are done by our own students only. So if we have the doubt that it cannot be done by us, we should keep aside the doubt. We are able to do it. Why not? Thousands of lakhs of iterations she had performed. The random variables were taken and the valuations were found by her. One of our students had identified the pair trading strategy, in which the abnormal variations in the two stocks were traded. She had taken the Bank Nifty and the SDFC Bank for the pair trading, and she had identified the arbitrage opportunities. If there were the abnormal deviations found between the two, then accordingly she had taken the positions, and at the end she has made some good amount of profits as well. Well, these things were done by our own students. So if we have any questions or queries that we are not able to do it, or whether we'll be able to do it or what, we should remove that. May I have the questions or queries related to the things we have discussed till now? All of you. Any questions or any queries related to the things? May I have the confirmation from the students? Yes, Mr. Milan, taking the advantage of the price differentiation. Absolutely. Miss Mohini is asking me that can you name such applications? You can go to the Cons app. You can go to the Stock Edge. You can go to the Market Pulse. These are the various applications which gives you the idea about that. Now, my friends, let me just take you to few more parts which are remaining to be done in this. Now the question arises that, sir, how can we learn all this? Well, we have got the one-stop solution for this, and that is the MBA in Business Analytics. If you are the UG student, then you should explore this amazingly designed course of MBA in Business Analytics, where the programming languages are taught to you, where the fundamentals of statistics and mathematics are further emphasized, where you will also get the domain specific applications of the analytics in the second year of the semesters. Then many of the questions I am coming across from the student side related to the MBA and Business Analytics, that is the prior knowledge of the coding is required to join the MBA program? The answer to this question is absolutely no. There is no prior knowledge required to join this program. Everything, this all projects and things which are done by the students, no, in the advanced Excel, in the Python, in the BI, and they have gone through with the Tableau visualizations as well. They were same, just like us. They had the similar kind of skill sets. They had the similar kind of the knowledge like us, and still they could perform it like this. So there is absolutely no requirement of the prior knowledge of the coding if you want to enroll in this business analytics program. Is it required to be a number not to be a business analytics program? No. Even if you are reasonably moderate in towards your numerical inclination, then also it's perfectly okay to join in the business analytics. Yes, if you identify yourself as a weak in your numerical inclination, then you should be avoiding this. But even if you are reasonably moderate, and if you consider yourself good in numbers, then it's definitely a program for you. Is it required to be a tech savvy to enroll the business analytics? No. But that is the outcome of this business analytics program, that you will become a tech savvy after completing this. Is MBA BA only for the finance domain students? Absolutely no. There is the extensive emphasis given to the various other domains as well. It is further extended to the marketing research, HR analytics, so many other areas as well. And you would also see upcoming few webinars. Ms. Krishna ma'am would be appropriate person to tell you about that, which will give you the insights about, the applications of data analytics into the various other domains. How MBA BA helps me if I want to be an entrepreneur? Yes, it definitely helps you even if you want to start up your business. My friend, it is basically about developing the data driven inclination. It is basically about developing the mindset of data driven decisions. If I do not know what would be the consequences of my startup on the financial things, if I do not have the predicted values of my financial forecasted values, if I do not know that what is the base for making the prediction of the sales amount and everything in the future, then how would I be able to take the rational decision? This will definitely help you. And nowadays we have seen that the entrepreneurs are emerging across the world. They are technically very sound. They have got some, the background of the coding as well. They have got some background of the programming languages too. You take the example of the Bill Gates, you take the example of Elon Musk. Many of them have got the exposure of finance and extensive applications of, the programming and coding. What career profiles may be targeted after completing the business analytics program, finance consultant, marketing consultant, marketing analyst, finance analyst, HR analyst. All those profiles may be targeted after MBA, BA if you are going for the jobs of your choice. How MBA, BA is different from the MBA general, my friends. Obviously, the inclination of numbers and the analytics is more in the MBA, BA from the MBA general. So these are various questions asked by the students. Even if your questions is not covered over here, if you want to know any other thing, you must be putting that in the chat box, and I would request Krishna ma'am to convey those questions to me so that I can explain that better.
Sir, we did not get the question, but they had, nodded whatever you commented in the webinar. So Rahul was that, yes, update us about current scenario of particular stocks or commodity market update as well. So how to use bull DEX and metal DEX for portfolio diversification. So this is what question have been asked specifically. Ayub, can you please would like to unmute yourself and explain it properly to sir, your question? Ayub, you had asked that bull DEX and MATLAX for the portfolio diversification. I guess he cannot unmute himself. Ayub, you there? Okay. Let me just unmute him. But you can write your question in the chat box as well. If you have any specific question, Ayub, you can write into the question, chat box. Ronak sir, we will take one or two questions and then we will, if your presentation is over, we will go ahead with.
That's it from my side. It's done, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Any question from the participant? Please write us in the chat box.
Sir, is it necessary that data analytics always work? Because sometimes it is price manipulation as well also.
Very true, Mr. Manav. Data analytics do not work in every situation, but the probability of being right increases by manifolds. It's the play of probability, my friend, not of being right in every occasion. If you have the good data insights, the probability of being right increases by manifolds. Is it clear?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Any other question from the participants?
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, Shreyash, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Sir, my question was that if we talk about the equity market, the applications of data analytics is very important and is very effective in all the analysis. But sir, when we talk about the commodity market, is it that much applicable on the commodity market as well?
Absolutely, Mr. Shreyas. Why not? There are few correlations found between the gold and the stock markets. The currency and the gold market as well, the correlations are found. You can have that which two commodities are, are moving in the same direction or moving in an inverse direction. Those kind of the correlation metrics are widely available and people are taking the trading positions based on that. Not just that, the quantitative analytics can also be done related to the volumes, that in what quantity the orders are placed. And that quantity also tells you that in which magnitude this price are getting affected. So over there too, there is a great chance of the data analytics. Absolutely, there is no doubt about it.
Good morning, Ronak sir. This is Ayub Malik. It was a really great session on the data analytics for equity markets. My question is, can the BullDex and the MetalDex, which are the two new indices launched by MCX recently for Bullion Index and Metal Index, can those be, analyzed by using different data analytics? Or can you please throw some lights on, use of data analytics?
True. One more thing that should be clarified from my side is that, see, there is an extensive use of the data analytics into various sectors, various indices, various other things, you know. Now, each and every sector needs to be interpreted in that situation. So what is the time at which we are making the analysis? What is the tool we are using for that? You know, what is the outcome we want out of it? So after knowing all these questions, one can build that what should be the strategy now from my side. I'm not claiming to be the expert of the analytics in this, but I can tell you only one thing, that there has to be many other questions needs to be answered before asking this. That how the commodity derivatives can be analyzed. You know, we should be first analyzing that what is the objective behind it, what is the outcome, predefined outcome we want out of it, what kind of the tool we would be using for this, whether we are taking the position for the short term or for a longer period of time. Once these questions are asked, then it can be interpreted further.
Any other question from our participants? We are taking only last question. I have shared certificate link and feedback link into the chat box. You may go through that link and can submit your feedback. Also, you can submit your detail for the certificate. It is compulsory to go on to this link and fill in the details for your certificates. So we would request you to click on this link for certificates and the feedback form. Meanwhile, I guess there is no more question from our attendees, Ronak sir. So shall we end this now?
Thank you so much, ma'am. That's it from my side.
Yes. Tushar wanted to tell you that it was a great webinar, highly appreciated. So thank you, thank you, Ronak sir, for coming in this webinar and enlighten us with your knowledge of applications of data analytics in equity market. Here, I just would like to let you know that these are the following programs offered by Faculty of Business Management, Marwari University. We offer 2 types of program, one in graduation and in post-graduation. You get better idea of MBA Business Analytics today, that how analytics can helpful in various aspects of management. Then also you can apply for MBA General. In graduation, BBA, we offer you 3 courses, BBA, BBA Honors and BBA Financial Market. BBA Financial Market is specifically for those people who are really interested in financial market and they wanted to make their career in financial market itself. So we are offering that specifically BBA Financial Market course for this kind of students. In field of commerce, we are offering 2 courses, BCom and BCom Honors. For more detail, you may contact us on the given information, contact detail. WhatsApp number has been given to you. Email also has been given to you. If you have any question regarding a webinar, regarding admission in any course, or any question you wanted to ask to our speaker, here are the contact details. You may also follow us for more updates on given Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube ID. You may also get in connect with us through the mobile, email, and WhatsApp number. So everything has been displayed here. So with this, we will end this session. Thank you very much for being here today. And once you fill up the form, you may leave the meeting. Thank you, everyone. I would extend my special thanks to Ronak sir for coming here and explaining us. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ronak sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you to all the students. Take care. Bye-bye. Sayonara. That's it from my side.